Hi, this is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 26. I got this comment this last week and a half, excuse me, and I want to share it with you. I haven't gotten permission from the sender, so I'm not going to reveal his name. I'm not going to reveal the country he was from. Great. Hi, you guys. It's so great to see you all. Jim, Nightmare, RGA, thank you. Carolina from Sweden, so great to have you with us today. Adisha, Hangren, just starting. Okay, now we're going to talk about this topic, and then we're going to, and I'll do a Q&A, all right? So the topic was practice alone is not going to increase your range. And I'm going to read this statement from one of my subscribers. First of all, a big thank you, a big fat thank you for making me aware of the concepts of head and chest voice. About 99.999% of the teachers in my country never, I repeat, never teach their students about these concepts. They lead their students astray, letting them continue their incorrect pulled chest singing, telling them that by practice alone they can increase their range, when actually they have been singing wrong the whole time. And he said, I'm about to escape that hellhole singing technique. So let's talk for a minute about this concept of increasing your range through practice. I practiced for many years and didn't gain one note on my range. How can that be? I think this subscriber of mine, which I appreciate his note very much, really hit it on the head when he said that their teachers are telling them that by practice alone they can increase their range. And so a lot of times, an exercise might just be banging on the top of the range all the time. So if I said, well, I couldn't do that well when I was practicing before. The only reason why I can do it now is because I know how to get up there. I even know how to get up there wrong, which that was. So if you just keep banging on it, no, 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 no. You just keep hitting it, and your range is not going to increase. Why? Why is your range not going to increase? It's not going to increase because you're doing the exercises incorrectly. So in order for your range to increase, you must address the bridge of the voice. For the men, that's the generally speaking, that's the E, F, F sharp above middle C. That is where you transition from your chest voice, that's your low notes, to your head voice, which is your upper notes. And in that area of E, F, F sharp, is where chest voice has to start to blend with head voice. So we call this mix. This is the area where the voice has to start mixing together. And if you do that, then you're going to increase your range. So for the ladies, it begins at the A above middle C, and is A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, you're all the way through. Now, so everything I say for the guys applies to the girls and vice versa. You've got to address this area called the bridge. And so in order to increase your range, you have to be successful getting through the bridge. By that I mean it can't be ah. That's just pulling your chest voice higher, because the next note ah, it's going to crack. We all know what that feels like. We all have felt the strain and stress. And then you have this falsetto sound, ah, which isn't a very, very good way to sing. For the ladies, your falsetto is not quite as markedly different as us guys, but you're limited in with your falsetto because it doesn't blend back down into your chest voice. So if I were in falsetto, it won't blend back into my chest. I have to crack back in. That's true for men and women. And so in order for me to increase my range, and at the time, for most of my life until I was 43 years old, 43, I just stopped at the E above middle C. Because I knew if I went any further, it was going to get worse and worse or break. So, and ladies, you may have the same experience. You may have the same feeling, or going through that A, B flat, B, C, C sharp. And if you don't switch or change somehow, then you're going to break or go flat or whatever. So in order for you to increase your range, you've got to have the right exercises that are going to provide that for you. So one of the best ways to begin to experience that transition, in order to get through the bridge to increase your range, is an exercise like this. Can you hear how it all of a sudden kind of balloons up into the head? That is the beginning, and if you could hear clearly, it didn't crack or break. It didn't let go into my head voice. Okay, I've been given a notice that I've got a little bit of a loop going here, so let me just check and see if I've got some kind of an open screen here, and see if that helps. I had a preview screen that maybe that's creating a loop, a quiet loop. Let me just check. Can you guys hear this loop? I'm hoping that solved that problem. I apologize for that. Now, so an exercise like bubble lips will help you get through the bridge into your head voice. I remember the first time I did that, I didn't understand. We did an exercise like, I didn't go into falsetto. I knew that. I know what a falsetto break feels like. It's like a yodel. So I was really surprised, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. You see, I could do 1,000 exercises, vocal exercises a day, and practice 5 hours a day. But if the exercises that I'm using don't help me get through the bridge into my head voice, I'm never going to increase my range. So this is very, very critical. I didn't know it was possible, and I'm here to tell you today it is possible. It's possible for each of us to get through that bridge, and by so doing, increase our vocal range without cracking, without breaking into falsetto. So if I said, starting on the A below middle C, there's the A flat above middle C, and I would have never ever thought that I could do something like that. Now we can't sing that way, right? So how can, you can't get up and sing a song with. So why does that work? Anyone have any idea why that works? It works because, it's good now, no loop. Thank you, Disha. It works because the larynx is staying down. The reason why we get stuck and we can't increase our range is the larynx is going up. The larynx is rising because that's the only way we know how to get up there is to stretch and reach, and so we'll never increase our range. But if we can keep the larynx down, I showed you how to do it on the bubble lip, but if I said gee 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 gee, I can do it with a geeky and maybe a little bit of a dopey sound. Gee 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 gee. Well, that's maybe not it's not a finished sound necessarily. It's not what I would sing with, but that's the beginning of increasing my range. If I said gee 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 gee, well, that's connected. That's a connected voice. In other words, it's not falsetto, it's head voice all the way up to the C sharp. For a guy, that's really wonderful. For a guy that can never sing above the E, above middle C, it's a miracle. And so what do we do once we get our nervous system trained to go through that bridge? And ladies do exactly the same exercises. The same thing on bubble lips or gee gee gee. So let's write through your first bridge. Once we get this done, once we get the nervous system to accept it, then we can go on to some other kinds of things. You could try it like this. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Well, that's not falsetto. It's deeper than falsetto, and it's not pulled up chest. Nay, 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 nay. So that's a light mix voice on that little nay, 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 sometimes a little bit of a bratty nay. So we're getting through the bridge connected without falsetto, without breaking, without cracking, and now we can begin to, once we get this bridge functioning, now we can begin to increase our range. So you can see I could practice till the cows come home and never increase a note because I'm not addressing the bridge correctly. I'm just pulling up chest voice or I'm just breaking in the falsetto, and that's never going to increase your range. Only by addressing the bridge and a couple of these exercises that I gave you today will help you do that. And here's the crazy thing. I would say most singers don't know about this. And for me, it was a revelation. It was like the heavens parted and this miracle happened because I had no concept that it was even possible. I had no idea that it was possible. But it is possible. You just have to have those exercises and they'll help you do them. You can go to, so let's open this up to question and answer, and maybe we'll end up a little bit early today, and everybody can go about what they need to do. But by doing these exercises that address the bridge, you can increase your range in the first minute, and then you can begin to even if you're doing them kind of dopey, or nay, 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 nay. The idea is that gradually you start doing them more and more as you speak, rather than with a little dopey sound or a little bratty sound. Nay, 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 nay. No, 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 no. So we get rid of the little dopey sound or the imposed larynx or a little bit of the bratty sound. We get rid of those so we get to our regular voice once it begins to hold through that bridge. And then you're off to the races. Then you're going to be able to apply it to songs, and you've increased your range significantly. And then, of course, there's more training, and you kind of have to get your balance with this new coordination. But it opens up a whole new world. A whole new, exciting world is available. I'm trying to get the word out to like 7 billion people, because most of us don't even know about it, don't even know it's possible. So I'm hoping to reach all of you out there. Okay, so what questions do you have for me? Let me just take a look here at the chat page. I really appreciate your joining me today. Hi, Pangrian from Malaysia, long ways away. I guess every place is a long way away, depending on where you are. I'm in the United States, in a place called Utah, and near Salt Lake City, Utah, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes north of Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay, Sylvia, hello. Nice to have you with me today. Pangrian, yeah, after the head voice, chest voice video, I actually consciously sing in falsetto with confidence. Let's talk about falsetto, because we use the terms interchangeably. We use head voice and falsetto interchangeably. There is a difference between falsetto and head voice. Falsetto, the vocal cords are disconnected, or they're so far up, so they're coming together so little that they just won't blend into your chest voice without reconnecting it. So if I'm in falsetto, you hear that click? I have to break back into my chest voice. But if I'm in head voice, it blends right into my chest. How can I do that in head voice? Is because the vocal folds, if these are the vocal cords in slow motion, they're coming together. Whereas in falsetto, it's just the very, very top of the chord structure, and they're barely coming together. And so if I want to increase the sound in my falsetto, I can get pretty loud in that breathy sound, but I can't press into them because it just blows the vocal cords apart. But if I'm in my head voice, that's a head voice. That's not falsetto. So there is a difference between those two. Sorry about the loop again, but I guess it's fixed now. Is it okay for one to still practice range increasing, larynx lowering exercises, even with vocal injury? Hi, David. This is from David Adusa, David William Adusa. It depends on the injury, and it depends on the practice. And it depends on how recently the injury occurred. David, can you tell me what kind of injury you're talking about? A hemorrhage? Was it a nodules? What kind of injury you were facing, and what the doctor said? Hi, Inger. I've got it scheduled to about 2:45 today. If we need to go that long, we can. Adisha, wow, now I feel like there is no ceiling up above. I feel so relaxed when I hit high notes. Thank you so much. So Adisha was out with the bubble lips. Is that what you were doing? Because you're right, there isn't any ceiling. Well, I mean, eventually, but the ceiling is much higher than it used to be. I mean to tell you. I've added an octave to my, more than an octave to my vocal exercises and to my singing. I've sung some, I do musical theater. I've done some shows where I actually had I think it was A or A flat. And in a million years, I wouldn't have ever thought I could add, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to 5 half steps on my range that I could actually use. Really exciting. It's so exciting. Sylvia. Hola. Hi, Sylvia. Very interesting concepts. I want to try them and see if they work for me. They do. They'll work. I haven't met anybody they haven't worked for. David, official. How to sing high notes easier and more open and healthier. How do we sing high notes easier and more open and healthier? Well, step number one is to do what we did today, and that is be able to get through your bridge. And so the vocal exercises that I teach, and you can find them at powertosing.com, powertosing.com. These vocal exercises are designed to help you bridge. This is always the problem. How can I get higher with, without pulling, without straining, without reaching up? How can I get higher without cracking or breaking? And it is learning how to bridge, which is what we did today with the bubble lips. We did that today with nay, 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 nay. We did that today with gee, 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 gee. Once I can do that, then I can begin to put together my entire voice so that now, instead of being locked out at the E above middle C, I can say, so I have, like that was the A flat, or that's the A, the high A, and for a bass, I'm a bass with some tenor notes. That's a lot. That's a lot of notes that I can use to sing. I've got that note today. Not today, but frequently I've got a low E. I woke up with some acid reflux. If any of you've got that, you know what it's like. So it's really, really scratchy down low. So Navid, if you'll go to powertosing.com, that's my homepage. In fact, I should probably just show you and see if I can't just give you some help here. For those of you who are wanting to increase your range, if you'll go to powertosing.com, and on the home page, this is the home page, you scroll down to the power test. This video explains how to take the power test. You record your voice while you sing along to the piano accompaniment for men, or if women, you want to be sure and click on the women, on the button here for the women, and then, or men, click on the button, and it'll start playing music. And
gentlemen, make sure.
And then you sing along, and then you can listen back, and while you're listening, you answer these questions. And then submit your answer, and it will give you your vocal type, or you can email it to me. I'll listen to it, and I'll tell you what your vocal type is. Then go to the once you know your vocal type, a vocal type is what you tend to do when you sing through the bridge. When you go, then you go to the Knowledge Center and watch a video. Let's just say your vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx. You go to the pulled chest, high larynx page, and this explains what pulled chest, high larynx is. This gives you exercises to counteract that, and it gives you examples of singers who pull their chest voice. This is not what we want to do, but by eliminating these problems, and this is how you eliminate them, you go to there's free exercises here. Downloads for men, exercises for pulled chest, high larynx. You download these, or if you're a gal, download them for women, and it'll take you to a screen that says downloads, women's or children's exercises for the vocal type pulled chest, high larynx. Click on that, and you get exercises that I've shown you how to do in this video. I actually explain how to do it. So now the reason why I'm showing you this is it answers the question that we had from Navid, how to sing high notes easier, more open, and healthier. The exercises for pull chest high larynx or flip falsetto or light chest no chest or mix are going to help you develop the ability to sing higher, healthier, and more open and easier. Okay, that's the best way I can answer that is to go there, check out those videos, get your vocal type, and start working on those exercises. Then you can just use them all the time, and there's no charge. Nando, your lessons have helped me understand the difference between head voice and falsetto. Thank you. It's a mystery. I spent 45 minutes this morning with a student in Malta, and just a wonderful gentleman. He and I are about the same age, and it's absolutely confusing for us at first. It's just because one of the reasons is because head voice and falsetto resonate in the same place. Well, because it's light and airy and resonates up there in our head, we think that's falsetto. But it's not, because my vocal cords have remained adducted or connected, however you want to say it. The falsetto, now they come apart. But if I sing down low, you see, I can't blend back into my chest voice. That's the big difference, and it just takes us guys so long to figure that out. But thank you, Nando. I really appreciate that. Blake, how do you get strong chord closure, or how do you achieve the vocal cry when singing? Well, here's how you don't. Nay, 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 nay. You don't push it. You don't grab it. You don't try and you try. You tense up. If we squeeze it, we're going to get some temporary loud noises. But after your gig is up, after your performance is up, you're going to be talking like this. You're going to have this scratchy voice, or it's going to be a little hoarse. You're going to get hoarse. You're going to do some damage. And so really where we want to go first is to get rid of all the tension. We get rid of the tension of the extrinsic neck muscles. See, if I say, go, 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 I've got the extrinsic muscles that are trying to help me get up there. But if I say, goo, 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 well, that's the way you start it. Now, it takes a little while to be able to go from I have to say it took me several years to be able to get that. But that's where the power comes from, because I was doing that without grabbing with my the external neck muscles. It's just the vocal cords themselves doing that. That's why we want to first get rid of all tension so that the vocal cords can do it on their own. Otherwise, they're always being squeezed, and they'll never function optimally with that extra squeeze. So the short answer is get rid of tension, let the vocal cords develop their own power and strength. Again, that's some of the exercises that I teach will help you do that. It looks like I've got some more questions here that have been added on. So Blake, another way, there are other ways to do it, but all the other ways introduce tension. Tension, that's tightness, extrinsic muscles squeezing or doing something. And so I prefer to do it this way. Another way you could try I'll just share this with you right now. Is nay, 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 na, 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 na. Nay, 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 na, 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 na. Nay, 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 na, 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 na. Nay, 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 na, 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 na. Now notice I didn't say nay, 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 na, na, na. I kept the na where the nay put it. Nay, 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 na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay. Nay, 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 na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay, 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 na, na, na. That'll help build more power into your head voice and into your mix area. Let's see here. Inger, I have practiced bubbles and trills for months and my range is higher, but I always feel hoarse after a warm-up. I'd have to hear what you're doing, Inger, to know. I'm guessing that you're doing more than bubbles in a warm-up, so maybe the bubbles are working fine, but maybe there's some other parts of the warm-ups that are not working fine. So now, and also being hoarse is one thing, and when I'm hoarse, I talk like that. You know, if I'm a little bit scratchy or something after I first warm up, I find that that's true. I'm not at my best voice immediately after I warm up. I'm at my best voice about 30 to 45 minutes to an hour after I warm up. Then my voice is feeling really good. I'd be curious if that's what you're talking about. Does it get better in 45 minutes? Does it feel really good in 45 minutes, or is it still hoarse? Mankus, what are the best exercises to gain muscle control when singing? The best exercises are designed to let go of muscle control. We really don't want to have any control, muscle control. What are you controlling when you speak? Can you tell me what you're controlling when you talk? I can't tell you that I'm controlling anything. I'm just talking. That's where we want to be when we sing. We don't want to exert any control. We just want to be able to sing like we talk. So we want to be able to be able to do it easily without any tension, without any extrinsic muscles squeezing or helping. That's our goal, is to be able to sing like we speak. And so everything that I teach pretty much is how to get rid of extra muscles. I'm trying not to have people control what they're doing. When we introduce some way to control something, we're usually adding tension. When we male are singing in head voice range, this is from Nando. Can we develop the countertenor voice? When we male are singing in head voice range, can we develop the countertenor voice? It depends on your tessitura, Nando. I speak down here, right around here somewhere. That's the maybe right here or here, anywhere around here. That's the low C. So I really don't think that I have the kind of bony structure. Probably the vocal folds are not the same as a countertenor. So it really kind of depends on your physical makeup. But I can get, but by doing what I'm showing you today, and getting into my head voice without tension, I can get a very brilliant and strong sound. That's the high C. You know, I feel pretty happy about that, especially being a basso cantata. That's a bass with some tenor notes. So there's a great deal of potential with this, a great deal of potential, especially when 20 years ago now, I'm 64. 20 years ago, I couldn't even sing the E without going straining and going flat. When we are singing in head voice, are you going to do it counter? I have this problem. Okay, Adisha, I have this problem. When I sing, I can't control vibrato sometimes. Can you please explain how to do vibrato with accurate control? Adisha, typically what's happening, often what happens is there's something that's not in balance with our voices. We have too much tension. We have, maybe there's an maybe we're sick. Maybe we, for any number of reasons, something is out of balance. Maybe we're pulling our chest voice too high. Maybe there's a little bit more tension or squeeze. Maybe we're too breathy. Maybe we're, there's just any number of things. And so that's a great measurement device as to how healthy our voices are. And so one of the things that we always are checking is how's vibrato in your bridge? Ma 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 ma. Now I'm into head voice. Ma 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 ma. For the ladies, the A, high A. Ma 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 ma. So if you're finding you have trouble in your bridges, it's probably because there's some pulled chest, or there's added tension of some sort, or maybe the vocal cords aren't coming together appropriately. Maybe they're not firmly coming together, so we're lacking in our chest voice. Or maybe we're just letting go into falsetto when we shouldn't be. So any number of those things could be happening. One way to address it, if you're finding that you can't control it, is to try this. So for Adisha, so you could say she. Don't do any vibrato. Straight tone. She. Then start it up. She. Practice starting and stopping. And I like to use my fingers because it makes me connect it to my voice. Slow it down and speed it up. Practice slowing down, speeding it up, practicing starting it. Or stopping it. Another good exercise is to say, if you can do the tongue drill, that's a couple things that you can try. See what happens. Thanks. Going to check out your homepage. Thanks, Navid. I think it'll be helpful. How does one achieve resonance control for texture? I think the best way to answer that, David, is try not to control anything. In other words, this technique is self-placing. You don't have to put the sound anywhere. It will go where it naturally is designed to go. If your bridges are working, it's going to go into your head, or it's going to be in your chest voice. Nay, 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 nay. I mean, the sound will go where it wants to go or should go. Now, if I'm fighting it and I'm not able to get through the bridge, there's nothing I can tell you that's going to help it, because we've got to have the bridges intact so that the resonance will shift into our heads or back down into our chest, move through the bridge easily. And so I'd say that's step number one, is make sure you're bridging. And then step number two, I can add a little bit of a dopey sound to my voice and get the larynx to drop a little bit more. But I would say that for the most part, we want to get away from adding anything to our voices. we may just have to accept or live with the texture that we've got. Now, I do musical theater, and so some of my characters have different sounds. One way to affect the texture when I'm doing a character voice, well, first of all, really getting into the lyrics seems to take care of it. But I did The King and I, and so he had a little bit of some kind of an accent. I probably didn't do it very well, but he would say something like, I can't remember the pitch, but when I was a boy, world was better spot. What was so, what was not. And so, there's a lot of things that affect that. But I go a little bit on the bratty side. Nay, 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 nay. When I was a boy, world was better spot. What was so, what was not. And so, I think I'm a little low on that, but so I went a little bit bratty and added a little bit more of an edgy sound. And I suppose you could do opposite to that. But again, every time we add something, we add some tension. And so there's a trade-off. And that's one of the problems with doing characters. Their voices sometimes aren't necessarily the best for singing. Feeding logic. I skip my voice when doing scales now, because my friends want me to scream and sing like that's too much for me. How do I eliminate the break, I guess, is what he's talking about. I'm guessing vocal range exercises. The break is usually caused by a high larynx. So if I said, so I hit the certain point and it just breaks. It's because the larynx is coming up. If I can keep the larynx down, then I will eliminate that skip or that crack or that little bump or the complete break into falsetto. So again, it's through these vocal exercises that I've been talking about today. They will keep the larynx down and get rid of the skips, the cracks, the breaks, the interruption in the tone quality, in the tone production. David, I haven't seen a doctor yet because I'm a bit scared what they'll find. You know what? I totally get you. I understand. I feel like my chords don't close when I sing, even a C4 and above. I'm not a bass. David, go see the doctor ASAP. Probably what they'll do is if they find something, they'll put you on rest. So if you have a nodules, usually there's two of them, side by side, bilateral it's called, and they'll put you on rest, vocal rest, complete vocal rest for days or weeks. And that will, a lot of times, they'll resolve, they'll heal that way. If they're soft nodules. If they're a hard nodule, then like a callus, then it's frequently they have to do surgery on those. Hopefully, that's why you want to go see them as soon as you can. Second thing is, stop talking and don't sing. Don't sing one more thing until you go see your doctor. Really, it's very important. There's also hemorrhages that can occur. That's just a blood vessel that has ruptured and come to the surface of the vocal fold, and it's a bruise, it's an injury, and that will also prevent normal closure of the vocal cords, and it really interrupts, you really can't sing in that area of the vocal cord. So I would go see them right away. Now here's the other thing. It's likely that it may have happened because you weren't singing correctly. You're doing exercises incorrectly, pulling the chest voice. This is frequently one of the causes. There are other reasons, but more than likely pulling chest voice too high. So too much tension, too much stress, too much strain, and that combined with any other things, you will re-injure your voice. So it's going to be important that you address that issue. Do you need to learn how to bridge? Do you need to learn how to get up into your head voice without pulling up the low voice? Because that is what's going to enable you to be able to sing long term. Not just heal, but not to have it happen again and again and again, which is bad. Beating logic, and I was getting my voice, I haven't seen a doctor. Okay, Inger, so that's it. Sorry, Inger, I'm losing. I can't remember what it was we were talking about, but hopefully I've answered your question. Do you use your nasal cavities when you sing high notes? Is it good or not? So, Navid, the sound should go past the nasal cavity, but not into the nasal cavity. So I don't try and put the sound anyplace. But if I said, if I'm doing the nay, 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 the bratty nay, 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 here's the difference. Nay, 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 nay. That's a little bit bratty, or sometimes we call it witchy or bratty witchy. Nay, 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 nay. But listen, here's what it sounds like if I jam it into my nose. Nay, 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 nay. So I wouldn't ever recommend doing that. Nay, 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 nay. And I can jam it in there by raising my larynx, which is what causes the nasal sound. Raise the larynx up, the tongue comes up, so it pulls the larynx up, and I can shove it into my nose, but we don't want to do that. So you don't need to. You don't need to put it into your nose, and you'll find that it'll be fine. So I don't use my nasal cavity. Even if I'm like doing a rock imitation. I don't really do rock that much. In fact, I don't do rock, but I can say, hey! But that's still, that's still not really, I'm not really jamming that into my nose. I can do that, but that's really, I can feel the strain of that. So the little bratty sound is pretty useful periodically, but no, I don't jam it into my nose. I don't put it into the nasal passage. Mankus, I totally get you on the point of releasing all muscle control and tension. Thanks for that. But what would you say are the best exercises for strengthening the vocal cords? Believe it or not, well, this it's a great warm-up. It's going to stretch the cord structure, but it's going to allow the resonance to shift. The vocal cords will adjust. Unless you break, you don't want to do the exercise and then break into falsetto, because that's not going to help. So you want to keep them, that's connected. That's a connection. They're not breaking in the falsetto. So that's number one. Another great exercise is goo, for men or women. Goo, 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 goo. Because you can hear it going hooty. Goo, 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 goo. Now, if I were holding on with the extrinsic muscle, it would sound like this. Goo, 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 goo. Now I can hit it, but there's a lot of tension there. So I'm just squeezing it. Goo, 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 goo. Let go. Goo, 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 goo. Or goo, 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 goo. Or goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Ladies, same thing for you. Goo, 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 goo. But if you find yourself saying goo, 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 larynx is coming up. It's not helping. It's squeezing. The extrinsic muscles are getting. So goo and the lip bubble, or the tongue trill. I put my lips over the top of it because it helps keep the larynx down even more. Okay, so we've got to bring this to a close. We're past 45 minutes. Amazing. So you say that all the online courses are useless. You know what? Osmium Studios? No, I don't. In fact, I don't know. I've really the only online courses that I've ever really seen are Brett Manning's and Seth Riggs. And Seth Riggs's are really not online. They're just, you can order them through his Singing for the Stars book. And Brett Manning's is Singing Success. I've seen those two, but I am, frankly, I've never taken any other online courses or gone through any of them. So I would not say that at all. I'm not familiar with them, so I couldn't even make a comment on that. So if you buy instructional DVD, do you do it alone? So if you buy instructional DVD and do it alone, it's not going to help. You know what? For 2 years, I just did cassette tapes because I didn't have a teacher. I did Seth Riggs's cassette tapes. That's back in end of 99, 98, 99 time period. That's all I had for 2 years, and so I felt like that really helped me. I didn't progress as fast as I think I would have with a teacher necessarily, but no, I got a lot of benefit from doing the cassette tapes, and I've since bought the DVDs, and I go through those myself. Every year I go through them, mainly because there are some great extra tips that he makes. So I don't know what the condition of the other courses are. I would say they're useless if they don't teach you how to bridge. That's my bias. But if they're not teaching someone how to get through the bridge, and like we've done today, then I would say you're wasting your time. I'm sure that there's probably some good things about breathing and so forth, but if they're teaching you how to bridge, and then awesome, more power to those courses. Feeding logic, thank you. I'll practice now. Fast warm-ups. I have one more question. How does someone sing? This is how does someone sing with more emotion, like the band Red? I don't want to copy though. I think so. Feeding logic. I think the secret to emotion is found in the lyrics. Singers have to be actors. And I think the best singers are great actors. Because if they're not feeling it, then they act like they are. But the words will guide you. So you have to find the deep meaning to you of the words, of the lyrics, and they'll deliver the emotion. You have to be willing to risk it. You have to be willing to let it out, let that emotion show. But create the picture in your mind of what the words mean to you. And go to the feeling of the words. What experience can you remember in your life that reminds you of the words you're singing? And if you do that with discipline, there's going to be lots of emotion. In fact, for me, I have to be careful not to get too emotional. If I get too deep into something that causes me sadness, then I start to cry, and I can't sing when I cry. Now, some of you can. I've seen people sing when they cry, and I've got my microphone here. I hope I didn't cause that a problem. I've seen people sing when they're crying, and I can't do that. My larynx goes up into my ears, and I just get totally choked. So I can't go too far. So you have to kind of, if you're like me, you have to kind of draw a line. You can't go so far into the emotions that you lose control of what you're doing. But the words of the song will create tremendous emotion in your singing. And it really helps the voice, by the way. It really helps your singing because you're forgetting everything, and just hopefully your technique is subconscious. You don't have to ponder it. You don't have to think about it. You can just think about the words and then be able to tell this great story. So it's the words, it's the lyrics that are the secret to a great song with great passion and great emotion. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate your joining me today. This has been awesome. Great questions, ladies and gentlemen, just tremendous questions. And go to powertosing.com. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and go to powertosing.com and take the power test, the vocal test, get your vocal type, and then download those free exercises and start working on them. They're going to help you bridge. So thanks very much. I'm going to sign off today and wish you all the very best. Please have a great rest of your day, and thank you. I really appreciate you joining me. All the best. I'll do this again next week, about the same time. Thanks. Bye-bye.